that broke the camel's back and will lead to BLG closing out this series.
And we were talking about this, you know, off camera, just kind of how many bin champions do you have to get through, right? And do G2 need to adjust their strategy around top lane to either focus more bans around it or just say, okay, you know what, just slap Broken Blade on some tanks and like that's how we're going to deal with it. We're just going to have them on Sion. We're just going to have them kind of like mitigate loss, not play to win the lane. Because in the kind of champions that he's going for, when you're going York, when you're going Zehen, you have to get an advantage. You want to kind of scrap a little bit more heavily.
I have to wonder if Renekton now becomes a high priority pick. I mean, you have a lot more experience in top lane than I do. Would you say that with these champions gone, there's like a big scary champion that Renekton's afraid of?
Well, to me, Sion, because I just think it's not a big scary champion, but it becomes that over time, right? Like the snowball starts to build.
Then does Sion Blind become the priority here?
I think Sion Blind is actually really strong with Gwen already off the table, with Ambessa banned out. Those are two, you know, really strong champions into tanks. Rumble is gone as well, you know, for that early
Aatrox would then be that next champ that's fine into it, right? And we've seen many top laners pick as an answer.
It's definitely fine, but that's kind of like the most I'm willing to say. A lot of these physical damage champions, especially with the meta currently, you know, we're seeing way less Azir. That's one of the highest DPS champions in the mid lane. Orion has been permabanned. So a lot of the mid lane APs are lower DPS. And if you are a lower DPS AP, like with Ahri or whatever, and you have a Sion top stacking armor, Sion becomes just a brick wall.
Yeah, very much agree with you. G2 foregoing their Varus ban here, allowing them to get it first pick for their first time in the series that they've been that first pick. BLG have chosen blue side, but will continue to be on the right side of the draft for now.
Xin Zhao, I think, is a really valuable jungler as well. I think that both junglers put a heavy priority on the champion, and with Jarvan, Pantheon, Vi, a lot of the classics now taken out of the pool, I think both Xin and Wukong naturally raise in priority here for Game 3.
That's going to be the trade.
Yep.
You give up the Varus, but you do have to give over the AShe Seraphine as a result here. And they don't necessarily have to take the Seraphine right here. They could go Xin, because I don't think that G2 is going to go for like Seraphine Varus. It doesn't feel like it would be worthwhile. So I do really like this. And, you know, it's not just about giving over the Xin to me. It's about giving over Xin with a great angle for an Enchanter bot lane, because Xin becomes so much more problematic. You can fly in on these champions with the support of the Seraphine. And with the Encore flying through you, having that Bruiser in the front line is so powerful.
Is it weird that I feel like SkewMond's thinking about Volibear?
Yes.
I mean,
what about Trundle? To me, Trundle is just the obvious answer to Xin.
You're right. That makes way more sense on paper. But it depends on whether or not they want to lock in their support now, because they've decided to go for the Sion. So as we were talking about that Sion safe blind, it feels like that there aren't many great answers into it right now, unless we get Bin's Vayne top.
Exactly,
perhaps.
which has not looked good at all. If Keen looks useless on Vayne top, maybe it's time to reconsider the Vayne top.
But this is Bin. Bin has been the best top laner at this tournament.
He's also just not a Vayne player.
I mean, but he could be, you know?
Oh, Karma made it through the draft.
Oh, she did.
Oh, I mean, yeah, a champion that we're just so used to seeing banned, we didn't really consider.
Not allowed. You can't pick that.
I mean, and I think it's a pretty good answer into the Seraphine.
It is, yeah.
So now we've got like double range, a lot of poke on the bot side of the Rift, a lot of peel, and G2 already starting to build a front-to-back style comp. I like that Trundle that you mentioned. I think that should be a heavy priority. And then G2 should think about maybe getting rid of the Aatrox if they're worried about it from the side of Bin, or some of the other champions that he might even bring out. Maybe they're worried about Cassante, maybe even Rek'Sai is a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, Rek'Sai, obviously, you can play to just get pushed, but again, it's, you know, are you going to have as much value as the Sion? That's the question with most of the matchups. If you want to go tank for tank, I think that's completely fine. The Bin champ, I would be thinking about a bit if I was worried about a counter matchup or a carry matchup, would be something like a Camille. Yeah, I think the Camille can scale well into it. We've seen Bin get consistent advantages, and if I'm thinking Camille, diving on Varus sounds pretty nice. You know, you already have the Encore, you already have the Xin. So if you draft something aggressive for Knight, then you could look for, you know, an aggressive mid laner plus the Camille as a potential diving option. But you can also just go like tank for tank and scale. You can play Ornn, you can play Rek'Sai, you can play, you know, you can go Renekton, obviously. I really hate the matchup because I feel like it's so hard to slam home that advantage. But pro players go to it all the time, so it could be just a Renekton and see how you do.
We'll see if that's what BLG decide to do as we get into our second stage of bans. Nocturne taken away by BLG, Akali removed by G2. Don't want to give Knight something that he can really begin to pop off on, because as you said, hasn't really had a finals to remember so far. This guy's 7 LPL titles, most decorated LPL mid laner of all time. He runs the region. hasn't shown up so far here at First Stand Finals.
And I do think because he is generally so consistent in these high-pressure situations, if I'm a G2 fan, that's making me a little bit nervous because I think it is unlikely that Knight doesn't have any good games in the whole series, right? You know, Caps has been playing incredible to keep Knight down. If that doesn't happen, then that becomes problematic. You need other people then to be stepping up. You need BB to be able to create advantage uses. You need SkewMond to have one of these massive games where he's putting Shun in the ground and really creating an edge because Caps can't do it alone the whole time.
Wondering if this Ahri will make its way to the ban table, because if you ban away the Ahri, then does Mel suddenly increase in prio? The Syndra is going to be the target instead towards Knight. I mean, when we think about Knight as a player, Syndra and Ahri are kind of his two most famous picks throughout his career. But now that Ahri is open, but again, like, this is what I talked about the Mel. If you leave both of them available, doesn't Mel just naturally become the higher priority pick just because of how good she is? And I genuinely feel that few teams have found effective answers into her because that rebuttal just feels so effective at, well, most abilities in the game.
It is quite strong. And I do think this gives them a lot of poke and a lot of zone control here. You have Seraphine, you have Mel, you have Ashe, you have all these slows. You have, you know, this Xin that doesn't necessarily have to fully commit to a fight. You don't have to play full dive. You know, I was talking about the ability, you know, if he was to get something like that Akali to play alongside a Camille, play alongside something super aggressive, they're clearly considering a lot of different options here. They want to see what the full composition is going to be. And we're just waiting for the pick from Caps and SkewMond.
Yeah, one of the things as well I like about the Mel is how little CC there really is on G2's lineup. Like, you have Karma chains, you've got the Chain of Corruption. Like, she has the ability to rebut the big, impactful things as we see the Aatrox locked in. Likely to be a jungle Aatrox here for SkewMond with that Sion going top.
And I do like it because, you know, as you guys have rightly mentioned, it is one of the common answers to the Sion. So it's both a takeaway and it is a good pick for themselves.
That is the Anivia that locked here. 4 Caps in the mid lane. Going to be matching up into the Mel from Knight. Camille.
I got excited about the Anivia and then the despair washed over us, I see. Oh, there's the other one. I mean, when
just
we think about
hover gangplank as well. Come on, guys.
When we think about Bin and champions that he is so synonymous with, Camille and Jax are two of his most famous. If he locks in the Jax here, he's very much looking for, all right, I'm looking to be a scaling threat later on into the game. There's little that Sion can do to stop me, and while I might not have kill threat in the 1 versus 1, I have a mixed damage portfolio, which means I'm slightly harder to itemize against. And also, my goal is not to kill you, Sion, it's to kill your carries. And so I'm looking for a scrap against Hansummer and Caps, and you're not going to stop me reaching that point in the game.
Yeah, and the question to me is, you know, how successful will Bin be in getting in the backline? Obviously, Anivia, no dash. Varus, no dash. If they see you and you're trying to fight through the Anivia, it's very, very difficult. You can even interrupt the leap strike, you know, with the wall from the Anivia. You can slow him down in that way, but if he gets on a flank, all of a sudden the battle lines can become very, very difficult. So I think it's going to be a lot about G2 being able to mark him on the flanks, not allow Bin to be able to get in that back line, because I think they'll struggle to fight front to back.
I ultimately like what both comps have done. I think that there's strengths and weaknesses to both sides. I think that both work somewhat in similar ways in terms of their poke. For me, the things that I think I'm keeping my eyes on is Caps on Anivia. This is the champion that earned him the finals MVP domestically, in contrast to the Jax outplay potential.
The Anivia Mad Life play.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that these two champions kind of give agency to two standout performers today, and I think that having agency to make that outplay can be the difference in a series between these two teams.
And in comparison to last game, I think that Caps' champion is going to have a lot more agency in this game compared to last game. Very difficult game to play LeBlanc in. So much point-and-click CC, so much chain CC. You can control fights. You don't necessarily have to make those solo outplays. You can just win fights playing this Anivia.
So, question for you, hang on, which I'll get to in a second, is we have to shout out On for his 1,335 international assists, making him the 3rd all-time passing owner at international events.
I do think, though, G2 have got to start paying more attention to these level 1s. That's 3 level 1s that BLG have gone for in a row. The last 2 games, it did net them pretty nice advantages. You have to respect it. People need to start making this adjustment. You can do level 1s. You just have to hard commit to it. It's very difficult to just do stacked defenses against a lot of these plays, and they just use the Ghost early to get that Karma Flash.
We're seeing some variation in the jungle pathing as well, as SkewMond going to start on his top side, as we've come to expect. Yeah. But while we watch the jungle action, you can also check out the Act 2 Battle Pass bundle. Purchasing unlocks the Prestige Requiem Sona skin and Chroma. So if you're interested, make sure you go check out that stuff as we continue to check out the pathing of these junglers, because BLG seems like that they're going to set their sights towards top side. And again, something you've talked a lot about, Azael, is yesterday when we watched the JDG versus BLG matchup, it was that jungle top what really drove home the victory against JDG.
Yeah, if you can punish Broken Blade on this Sion, you can get him so far behind, get Bin into a lead. We've already seen what Bin can do against G2. That Mbessa 1v3 outplay in mid a couple of days ago, as Broken Blade will just try and keep himself as healthy as possible for the possibility of an early gank. BLG will know exactly where SkewMond has pathed because they had a ward on his blue buff, and it actually looks like Xin might look for an invade with his pressure from bot side.
Well, it makes a ton of sense as Xin, I mean, he's looking for the invade here. He has full information with the pressure that he has in the bot lane.
SkewMond able to take the wolves. When it becomes lightning, SkewMond dashes across the wall. And he's able to
see there. All of the wins, this is like the top teams, from LCS and LEC, how many wins they have against the LPL and the LCK over the last number of years. G2 pretty much has more than everyone else combined. Yeah. They have been the hope of the LEC, the hope of really any Western fan to be able to mix it up and take down these LPL and these LCK teams. And again, here at First Stand, able to do that. The best results they've had in many, many, many years. LCK has just been running things in lolesports and until G2 showed up this time.
This ward actually really good outside of the bush, because then it covers the entire entrance area where SkewMond could walk through. SkewMond was trying to hug the top side of that wall that has been spotted as he starts off this blue. Xin waiting around the corner in the darkness. SkewMond does have smite, but so does Xin, and well, Xin doesn't, but he can force away the G2 jungle, and that will be Scuttlecrab on this top side as well for the BLG jungle.
Yeah, and the main thing is just the push, right? You have two pushing solo lanes, so as soon as he's there, you have to run.
Cleanses away from the beat drop. That was going to be a stun. Has to flash as well. Viper it on, winning out the 2v2 once again.
That is scary now for Hans. No flash, no cleanse, no heal on the Brav, and still missing his flash for a while. It does raise the possibility of action down on that bot side. Xin could take a look there.
I mean, this whole early game is mega dominant from BLG. They've got 3 pushing lanes. Xun's pathing has allowed him to slow SkewMond down very significantly. The root threat to Cap's going to force the egg out early. Not the end of the world, of course. He's going to resurrect with his full HP. But the pressure that is being exerted, being put down onto SkewMond and onto all of these lanes, means that BLG is already off to a decent early lead.
They really are. I mean, the bot lane is the one that concerns me most from the G2 side, because when I think about Anivia, I think about Sion. You just have to withstand, right? As long as you don't die, as long as you aren't getting completely blasted, you hit 6, you're able to start having a lot of wave clear on the Anivia, and post 6 for Sion, take a bad trade, all back to lane. It's not really the end of the world, which is one of the things that makes it so powerful. But these wards, man, they have spotted SkewMond everywhere.
BLG have done their due diligence. They are so good at tracking where SkewMond is, tracking where he can go, and making sure that there's just no opportunity for what has been the linchpin of G2's early game, SkewMond finding ganks, finding ways in, stealing away jungle camps. And because of that, G2 feels very neutralized through the early game in these last couple of matches.
And now look at his camps. He's got Krugs up and he's got Wolves up. It's just like the worst situation for a jungler to be in, because there's no real optimal path, whereas Xin has just cleared back through his bot side. He can now up towards his top side. He's gotten both crabs. There's such a huge early game advantage for Xin, and SkewMond's largely just left wondering and fishing for opportunities that don't materialize into anything.
I think it's going to be really interesting, come time for fights, because obviously the ability to start the fights is mostly on the side of BLG, right? They're the ones that have all of these engaged tools, as Medic reacts very much to the...
They're just tracking them perfectly. The Hawkshot, they pinged the red buff, and then Hawkshot comes up, he spots out SkewMond on the Krugs.
Nobody's ever done that in the history of Dota!
I don't think BLG have been unaware of SkewMond where he is for the first 5 minutes of this game. They've perfectly tracked him. It's an incredible team effort to make sure that Skew just can't have any impact.
They even pinged him out on stage. Nowhere he can go.
What can you do, man? Just locked there, I guess. Crystallized down from Caps as he tries to trade in with the Frostbite, but Flash Frost doesn't connect onto Knight there, so Knight's still very happy in this lane. Leads across the board for BLG. You look at that sea of blue down towards the bottom side. Only Labrov with a lead for G2 right now.
I mean, things looking very good at the start of this game for BLG. naturally the Dragon will be a big point of contention for both these teams. It's a really important objective, especially when we are going more towards a scaling game. Lethality Varus, I mean, with SkewMond on the Aatrox, you do have that extra damage threat as you get later into the game. But something that I feel like we just see so consistently from LPL teams is just this, like, I call them like quad damage threat compositions where even the jungler, like we've seen Xin do so much damage in fights at this tournament especially. And the Seraphine healing that she's going to be able to provide is going to be something that G2 will struggle to navigate around as the support or combat. Ultimately, they're just farming gold off each other right now.
And I feel like these kind of compositions are so powerful when you have such good mechanics, right? You have such talented individual players. You're giving all of them agency to create action, to find angles, to really take over a game. And LPL, I think, is uniquely good at these comps with tons of carries where you can create kind of individual skirmishes on the side. You have a 1v1 over here, a 3v3 over there, you know, 2v2s and so on. And that's something that G2 will have to deal with. Definitely want to be kind of death-balled up, I think, as their comp. And really playing front to back.
It's something G2 talked about in interviews as well. They said the difference is BLG will take the fight to you at every opportunity. They'll make a few more mistakes, but they are so willing just to take a skirmish. Whereas a team like Gen G, a little bit more methodical, still incredibly good, of course, has been. Flashes away here. Brokenblade's going to flash out of the counter-strike. Someone has exchanged on the top side.
I don't think that's a bad trade for Brokenblade, though. He's going to catch this whole wave coming into him. It gives the possibility for a gank in the top side later on, because I'll always argue that if a Sion... I mean, we have the luxury of casting Baus this split, so we know that a Sion death really doesn't have that significant impact later on into the game. And
where's BB's collector is my question.
Yeah, that's the real question.
No call? Is this guy trolling?
I think I saw him buy a potion.
Calls himself a professional player? Did he ward?
I mean, of course, he's a little bit behind in this matchup, but kind of where you expect the Sion to be. Meanwhile, Hans, even though he lost his flash early, has been doing very well in the farm department, and they found this really nice window to secure that Dragon uncontested as well. Mid got the push, bot got the push, recalls came through from BLG, and SkewMond saw that as an opportunity. Now he's on the top side of the rift, though. And I'm keeping my eyes on where Sion is as well, considering starting off the grubs, and he's going to do just that.
One of the things I did like about Bin trading flashes aggressively there is he was getting really low on mana, and sometimes when you get low on mana, you can get kind of stuck in these awkward lane states where the wave would be getting frozen against him. So part of what he's doing is trading flashes aggressively to just crash the wave and get a good reset. And I think he's so intelligent around playing these kind of timers on Jax, because Jax can struggle. You don't have built-in sustain early on. You can run out of mana in these lanes. So you have to know when to really trade your health and mana as a resource just to get a reset. And I think Bin is just so smart about doing that, not allowing Brokenblade to get into an advantageous lane state.
Well, so far this series, Bin, of course, has been spectacular, but Knight was the player we'll be keeping our eyes on, hoping to step up more as the series continues. And right now in this laning phase, he is oppressing the Anivia. You expect that with the matchup. The amount of poke that she has. Cleanse going to be used by Hans. He should be safe there, getting a little bit low. But yeah, I mean, the mid lane going very favorably for Knight in here in Game 3.
On just hit 6, though, so now this is what Hans is going to have to watch out for, because now you have no cleanse, and the Encore just got leveled. So need to really watch out for that in these next couple minutes while he doesn't have the cleanse.
I can see Hans backing away, not even trying to survive under the tower with the long range that Varus provides, instead saying, okay, which shouldn't, especially in the area, I'm just going to back away. No reason to risk trying to flash out, trying to get a chain of corruption down. They will give up a huge wave, though, underneath the tower, and BLG extend their gold lead to about 1,000 overall. Labrov coming back out on the map, still has about a third of his XP before he gets to that level 6. There are no real neutrals available to either team. Crystallized down, Flash Frost used late, so the rebuttal doesn't get it as they look for the damage here onto Knight. Mandrain of Flame going to come out as well, but Knight still at 150 HP. Looking for the Solar Snare, doesn't quite land, as BLG are able to buff up their mid laner and get him the push out.
Decent damage onto Knight. The threat of a kill there was very real, but ultimately it's just a heal that was expended by Labrov. He's very close to level 6. I imagine he'll want to stick around mid lane to secure that final level.
It does feel like Merc Treads are kind of a must for G2 this game when you're looking at how much CC is there, and it is one of these comps where if one bit of CC hits, all of a sudden, you know, there's the snare from Mel, there's the root from Seraphine, there's the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, there's the Encore, there's the Counter-Strike. You know, it just kind of never ends, so tenacity going to be pretty important. Would love to see a Mikhail's early for Labrov as well.
the health advantage that G2 have with the numbers advantage. The Nell's going to TP back in, a bit of a scrap.
SkewMond looking for the smite, goes over to Sion. Now SkewMond hops the world ender to try and get out of this. Crescent Guard Wind becomes lightning, doesn't land, nor does the Solar Snare, but SkewMond has nowhere to go. First blood, BLG.
I mean, he thinks that because Mel has gone back to base, Caps has the push, and Broken Blade has more HP, that this is a favorable play for him, but Caps actually had no mana. There was nothing he could contribute to that skirmish, which meant that Shun says, hey, I mean, this is a free win for me. He takes first blood.
Meanwhile, on the bot side, Viper ghosting in, looking for the damage onto Labrov, who uses the inner flame well to keep Viper at bay. Because of that, G2 will be able to walk away.
Yeah, and they're trying to trade aggressively with the Ghost, knowing that the arrow is back up yet, and there's no cleanse. There's no cleanse for Hans. So if they can get Hans low at all, they can look for a potential arrow into Encore, look for that aggressive play, but G2, paying respect to that, is playing pretty defensively.
SkewMond, though, with an early blunder could cost G2 a lot. When we think about, I mean, so much of the conversation so far this tournament for G2 has been how excellent SkewMond has been. On forced to heal.
Flashing in with the inner flame, trying to force on splash out. Caps flashes away, not put into the egg. Glacial Storm for a little bit of a slow in the end. On did have to flash and heal in the bottom lane.
I feel like that was a bit of a bluff from Labrov, because, I mean, SkewMond is just hitting the scuttle, has no ult, no flash. I don't think he really could have got down there, but On does respond with the two summoners, so it ends up going pretty well there for Labrov.
Radiant Volley just short of clipping onto Caps. Unstoppable Onslaught used onto Bin. Counter-Strike coming out as well. Broken Blade walks away from it, and Bin has to flash first. The risk of BB flashing in with the auto. Bin escaping the clutches of the Sion, but BB winning out on the 1v1.
I mean, great play from Brook. I'm honestly a little bit shocked. I wasn't expecting this matchup
It's not
to go
often
that
we
way.
see Bin lose against G2 in any way.
I need to, again, we're in the Messi of League of Legends is in our region. How can, we, of course, have excellent Sion players there. We shouldn't know, looking for a fight.
Encore onto Labrov, who doesn't have the flash. Caps trying to come across. There's Xin Zhao to Crystallara as well for the follow-up onto Labrov. Into the Solar Snare. The Karma finds her just as desserts as SkewMond follows suit. 2 more kills to BLG, and now a 3K gold lead.
This team just punishes missing resources so well. Labrov just did this flash trade on bot side. Instantly they collapse on him. Even with the Mikhails, it just doesn't matter. The CC chain will not end. I just think Shun is playing on another level this series. This guy, to me, has been the jungler of the tournament, and he is just so confidently moving forward. There's the Encore, there's the root, there's the arrow, there's the Solar Snare. It just never ends.
I mean, I'm shocked that G2 trying to force this skirmish, especially given the state of the bot lane. Varus was so far away, and Anivia offers so little in these early skirmishes.
It's fine, guys.
You need to play a
just keep
slower
focusing.
game. Broken Blade trying to keep the mental strong, reminding the team to just keep focusing, but this gold deficit is huge. It's the biggest one in the series so far, and as we check out the Coinbase gold grind, you can see a bit of that gold advantage coming through from the top side, but really Shun and Viper where a lot of this lead is sitting right now.
Shun just having such a strong early game as again they find Labrov. A singular ward in that bush near the wolves. He's going to dodge away from the wind becomes lightning, but Labrov just, he doesn't get to control any of this jungle. SkewMond is on the top side, so Labrov a little greedy walking in by himself, but he's trying to get down to Hansama because Hansama is now between the towers in the bottom lane with no recourse to actually step up to his turret.
Exactly, and Labrov is revealed there by Knight in mid lane again, so Hans can't do anything. You're just going to lose the entire wave, you're going to lose more plates, and Viper has this big advantage now. Things starting to get tough for G2. You know, if you can withstand the early storm, sure you can scale, but they're starting to really convert these advantages and get them bigger and bigger leads. And now they're gonna have to move the Sion down to the bot side because they know Hans must farm. You cannot just be sitting there doing nothing. So they're gonna send Sion down to bot side. They're gonna move Hans mid, and Caps is gonna have to play in the side lane, which can work. But again, Anivia very gankable. You are very low move speed. You really can block people coming straight at you, but if they get behind you, it can be tough.
You know, I think back to the draft and how G2 prioritized this Varus and banning the Nautilus themselves. Remember that when they played against the AShe Seraphine before, they drafted ulti, doesn't quite connect, but they drafted the Misfortune plus Nautilus as an answer, and by going for the Karma Varus, they're saying, we can match in the 2v2, but they've fallen short there. SkewMond hasn't been able to successfully play with this pressure. Instead, Shun has been the one continuously punishing, and now G2 are just trying to fish. As the first tower of the game goes the way of BLG, they extend the goal lead to 4.2. 3K. And I mean, BLG, it feels like that this game is over before it's even really begun.
And I mean, the lane economy snapshot, they're lying to you because Bin just took the first tower right after that. So he is now 1.2K ahead. The top side, again, massive advantages. But this game, it's the whole map. And it is G2 really falling out of it. This does feel like one of these games when you get this far down this early, you kind of get one good shot, right? You have to choose your moment. You have to say, all right, when we hit 2, they won't have 3 items yet. And we're just going to try to force a fight, right? But the problem becomes, at that moment, BLG can just play through side lanes because Bin is on the Jax. They don't need to take the fight.
Viper ghosting in, cleanse and the chaos, or just the Mikhail's out there on Han Summer. Didn't have to use the cleanse himself. Labrov in the area to protect him.
Well, just a bit of trading. We've seen this a couple times now between the two AD carries, but it is Viper that holds onto that very healthy lead. Cap's starting to trade back a little bit more favorably against the Mel now that he's completed his Rod of Ages. Something we often see from Caps is he forgoes the tier build and instead just chooses to go for the single mana item, then into AP. It gives Anivia that earlier spike so that you're not waiting as long before she becomes relevant, which in the current pace of the game and the meta, I think makes a lot of sense.
Exactly, and especially in a game like this, if you're going tier and you're waiting for the row, you're waiting for the Seraphs, it's going to be so late. You need earlier damage because, as I said, you are bleeding out. You're probably only going to get that one big team fight. And if you win that fight, the game goes on. You really have a good chance there later on. But luckily for G2, one thing working for them, they took one early dragon. So at least you're not going to be drawn into a soul fight super early on in this game.
G2 looking to see if they can catch out Bin in this bottom lane, but the wave not big enough really, even with the decimating smash coming out. Bin still has his flash and the Grandmaster's Might and enough tools to escape the clutches of G2 because SkewMond is down in the bottom lane. BLG will open up the Rift Herald in mid. It's On that's going to ride it into the tower. They get it down to about half. Chain of Corruption goes wide in. A flame will land as SkewMond comes in with the World Ender. They're trying to kill off Viper. Caps has a flank position here as well. The Encore comes down. Everyone dodges away from it, but Viper's able to flash the wall. Even with the crystallized, BLG now begin to collapse. Decimating smash out from Broken Blade. Bin on the backline. Han Summer has to extricate himself from the situation, but even with the cleanse and the flash, you can't cleanse Bin. He takes one. BLG just absolutely sweep away G2. You get one shot, and you're damn well missed.
An absolute slaughter in favor of BLG as they punish the aggression from G2. Viper doesn't even lose his life. He's able to flash over the wall to get to safety, and what G2 thought was an opportunity just resulted in their demise.
This impressed me so much how Viper plays this. I thought he was absolutely screwed in this position, but he holds his flash for so long, and it felt like G2 were kind of waiting for him to commit to it before they go in. The Encore buys a lot of time. He flashes over the wall. Even with that Anivia wall coming in behind him, he can rejoin the fight. Bin arrives, and Hans has no chance at all. They proc the egg. He gets into the back line. Viper survives. And you said him at Q really get one shot, and this one did not land whatsoever. BLG running away with this third game. I talked about it in draft. You can't count on Knight being held down in every single game, and this time Knight has a big advantage for himself as well, and it's the whole map that are just dominating for BLG.
It's just what BLG do so well. Individual brilliance topped off with pretty solid team fighting and team coordination. A 7,500 gold lead. They're going to secure their second dragon of the game. And you look across all the key carries, 1.6, 1.8, 1.2, 2.3K ahead right now. G2, if they manage to come back from this, it would be something pretty darn miraculous.
AShe are not going to quite connect onto Han Summer, but absolutely BLG.
Encore onto SkewMond. On just thinking we can take this trade. Chain of Corruption is going to land. Viper on the chase. SkewMond forced out of his own jungle as Labrov trades with Knight. Caps trying to come across. That's TP in by G2. Rebuttal down. Knight has to flash into the Baron pit. He's locked in there, but they can't really follow up too much. Even with the decimating smash in the end, Caps will manage to secure the kill.
Really nice wall there, and they take advantage of the fact that Bin used his TP in the last fight, so Bin is still pushing bot. G2 kind of need to force more. You got that one kill, but you can't just give up a full tower bot to Bin and only get that.
They're going to force the Baron. Yeah, they have the numbers advantage. No Knight available. I mean, this is their Hail Mary play.
Bin has no TP. He's running. He's lagging it. He wants to be here for the fight because if he's there, you have to feel that BLG can win it. No Encore, no Enchanted Crystal Arrow, no flashes either for Viper or for Bin. Xin trying to get in to steal this away. Labrov on that front line. Crescent Guard down. Good double knock. Good double CC from On. Broken Blade trying to dive onto the backline as the bound has been stopped, but On is really down. Chain of Corruption is going to land onto Xin as SkewMond goes in for a bit more of a chase. Bin has finally arrived, but they stun him. The Flash Frost. Maybe going to bury him under an icy grave. G2 find another. The Golden Eclipse says goodnight to Han Summer. The G2 have somehow found 2 fights to get back in the game.
I mean, it's the best case scenario for G2 because while they didn't quite secure the Baron, they get shut down gold, they get kills, they slow BLG down, and it was a 7.5k gold lead that's now been shrunk to 4k.
And when you need something special, when you need a little magic, believe in Caps as he lands the perfect wall. They kill Knight over the wall, and they know, okay, no TP on Bin, he's pushing bot. You can't just go for that. So even if it's a 1% chance, if that's our best chance, we will send it. Xin goes in early, but Labrov lives for so long, and then the CC comes through. Viper is dancing around in this fight, playing incredibly well, but the amount of CC they have means they knock down Xin. Bin is getting kited out. It's not until Knight arrives and lands this solar snare there on to Hans, that bit of damage and the ultimate coming through, allowing them to kill off Hans. Otherwise, it could have been so much worse for BLG. But G2, again, they never go down without a fight, and that's something I've always admired about this team and admired about Caps rosters. They're going to look for the best chance, even if it's a slim one.
And now the good news for Caps is he's about to tick over. Oh, hang on, Labrov.
Bad news for Labrov is he's about to dive. Eddie Inner Flame coming out won't be enough. With an arrow and a follow-up, Caps getting jumped on by Xin, who uses the Crescent Guard to try and make that Anivia into an omelet, but Xin is a little bit too deep. Counter-Strike coming out, Bin there for the chase, On coming in as well. Han Summer will kill off Xin, but now SkewMond needs to retreat because the Encore finds 2. It's a double up for On and a double kill for Bin. A decimating smash out of Broken Blade trying to save Caps here, who will resurrect, but will he just be brought back to life to immediately die? Glacial Storm enough of a slow. Viper coming in from the side, Broken Blade trying to retreat to the safety of his tower, and BLG will call off the dogs. They won't look for more.
A semblance of hope is given to G2 and BLG quickly take it away. Broken Blade though still fishing for more. He wants to get that kill onto On, but he won't find it.
Has to flash across the wall to escape BLG, who will be able to take this tier 2 in mid. Actually, with a TP out from Caps, it looks like BLG will decide that discretion is the better form of valor. Caps trying to chase in the volley enough to slow him down.
Yeah, Caps is barely surviving to Bin there. Didn't have enough damage. The egg is actually very tanky. Couldn't quite knock him down before the revive came through. And Broken Blade did a good job peeling for him, keeping him as safe as he possibly could here. And this is, another fight starting out. Labrov getting caught out has been a pattern in this series.
Oh, we're going to go back to live as the action kicks off once more.
Caps being slowed up, Crescent Guard out, and just Bin on the flank. TP coming in from Broken Blade as well. G2 need to mark Bin. Han Summer flashes away from the Counter-Strike. Broken Blade on the front line. Stopwatch from Bin. Double control wards just to spot him out as he dives onto the back line again. The Counter-Strike to flash forward from Viper. Bin is unstoppable, and Viper's here to sink in his fangs. BLG will wipe away G2. For a moment it looked like the EU representatives could find a way back in, but BLG just slammed the door in their face.
And Bin just found such a good angle there. He had the Seekers, he flies into the back line. Sure, Hans can flash the first Counter-Strike, but that's what the Seekers is for. Buys the time for the cooldowns to come back up. He can do nothing about the second. Hans is food for the Jacks. BLG grab the Baron and have a stranglehold in this game.
And a flash from Viper as well in the midst of that fight. He just says, okay, I'm tired of being zoned away by this Sion. I actually don't care about him at all. I want to get into the thick of the action, and he did just that. BLG reclaim the gold lead that they once had, but themselves in the powerful position that they had earlier on in this game, and they will start to stifle that hope that G2 had built up here in Game 3.
A monstrous lead now for BLG. 7.7 thousand gold their advantage. 3 items on Viper, almost 3 for Knight. He's just short of the Rabadons, and now with the Drake available, Labrov has to flash away from that Enchanted Crystal Arrow. If he'd been caught, once again, we would have seen him going down. BLG just forcing G2 entirely onto the back foot.
Yeah, and this time it's Broken Blade pushing top. He has no TP, so I don't think G2 are really looking to contest this. Of course, he is going to base and could join potentially with that ult, but I think with Labrov losing flash, there's just no way in. So you just give up that third dragon, hope that you can somehow contest at that next one, deny the soul. but BLG aren't going to give you time because they have the Baron buff. They're going to push through multiple lanes.
Broken Blade going in with the unstoppable onslaught. Now BLG all able to dodge it. Crystallize coming down with the wall as well. The encore on BB. He might be tanky, but he just can't survive the onslaught that is BLG. G2. Desperation ringing through them. Go for the engage. Can't find it. BLG now with a man advantage can look to push in and go to match point.
I mean, BLG game 2 played the game a little bit slower, but here in game 3, they're not wasting any time at all. With the Baron buff, they are melting these towers. G2 only have 4 members left alive, and they just don't have the wave clear needed to stop this siege from BLG. An inhibitor will fall. The tower protected mid, but for how much longer with this siege coming through from BLG?
Arrow not onto SkewMond. He dashes away afterwards. Solar Snare just short as well. The beat drop not quite connecting onto Labrov. Good flash bosh on Knight, but Mikhail's away on form, finding the support for his team. Flash Frost again is going to land onto Xin, but it's Caps on the front foot and the rest of the team not able to really catch up. BLG walk away from it after taking the bot lane inhibitor and garnering a 10,000 gold lead.
Yeah, all G2 can do is just try to get out here, take a scuttle, claim some vision. You need to keep looking for these very difficult plays. BLG feel like they are one fight away from match point here unless G2 can pull off a miracle. But when the luxury items start coming through, it's really, really tough. I mean, Bin has been on that Seekers forever, has not based. He's going to have full zone. He's pretty much guaranteed when he bases. I would be worried that Xin is going to have a full GA when he bases. The death cap is done there for Knight. A Last Whisper is just purchased up for Viper. They have so many tools now, and not quite having that GA, so at least that's something working for G2, but BLG just playing it out beautifully here and in full control of this game.
And for BLG, how many times have they been this close? How many times have they got that second place? So we see the Zhonya's completed for Bin. You look back to Worlds 24, MSI 24, Worlds 23, they got knocked out in the semi-finals. A lot of decorated players on this lineup. Bin, Knight, Viper, all of them have claimed titles in the past, but as an organization, as a roster together, they have never claimed that final prize. As Xin is looking to take them that one game away. Arrow was Mikhail's away. G2 now trying to fight over this mid prio as Bin keeps Broken Blade honest, at least, as he goes down to 2/3 HP. Only one cannon minion in the mid wave is going to get cleared out. Caps flashing for the Crystallize. The encore only onto the Anivia, but that might just be enough as Caps look for the play. Crescent Guard coming out. Stopwatch as well. Bin on the backline and Hans Summer. He just doesn't get a chance to do anything. Bin is taking names and putting them right in the trash as he wipes away the backline of G2, and BLG are trying to etch their name on the first stand trophy. One more game for BLG, one more game for the LPL, 2-1 to the LPL first seed.
Sub 30-minute victory as BLG will wipe out the confidence of G2. A convincing victory from start to finish. Let's hear what the desk has to say.
It's a bit quiet in here now, honestly. Yeah, the atmosphere has changed quite a bit. It has been the LPL's game for 2 games in a row now, and God, I always forget how good Bin is on Jax. A menace here once again.
He is so good at playing with these margins. I remember initially when he burst onto the scene, people were looking at his Camille and Jax and what makes them so different. It's because he can be so